Welcome to Are You Real? Finding the Authentic You, the podcast that focuses on Christians that are active in everyday life. Join in as we speak to everyone from successful business owners to educators to athletes about their faith and how it helps them reach out and revolutionize those around them to do the same. And now, get ready to roar with your host, the voice of manifestation, John Fuller.
Welcome to Are You Real, episode 81. Hey, Roar Nation, John Fuller here, and we are doing something a little different. As you know, this month, we are pre-launching doing interviews with all of our new hosts. If you're new to the show, go back to previous shows back in November. Those are what I call normal shows. But this month, we are interviewing all the people that we're going to be launching in January. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to be hitting topics on fitness, business, success, a lot of different topics. And I'm really excited about this. But tonight is even more special interview for me because as just like in the past, I get to interview my amazing wife who's going to be doing her own show on fitness, health, and all the aspects of getting in shape. So like most of us, I don't know about you, but over Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm going to be packing on a couple extra pounds. And so Kasey is going to help us get back in shape overall for the new year. So that being said, Kasey, you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so in the past, we've talked a little bit about who you are, your fitness, goals like that. So I highly recommend going back and typing in Kasey Fuller with a K, and you guys can get an idea of who she is on back stuff. But why don't you right now, Kasey, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your show is going to be about.
Okay, so I'm a certified personal trainer, and I do one-on-one sessions with people. I do group training, I do coaching, I do online training, and recently I've kind of been shifting my focus a little bit more into some other areas as well with some life coaching in there because I'm very big on adding in a lot of the journal exercises and taking your soul and your spirit and your body and aligning all of those things so that you have the complete package. And so my show is going to that's what it's going to be about. It's going to hit all those different areas and it's going to go in depth on what living that healthy, balanced lifestyle is going to look like for an everyday person. I'm also a wife and I'm a mom, and so also very busy, and I get that life isn't always conducive to, reaching all of our fitness goals. It can sometimes be a challenge. And so with this show, I hope to kind of break some of those things down and help you understand why it's important to shift your focus a little bit in these areas and maybe tweak your life just enough to make it an area that you're successful in.
Cool. Okay. So tell me this. What are you most excited about coming into the launch of the Are You Real? Obviously, we're doing business success, link creatives, but on your show specifically on Fit, what are you most excited about?
There's so many things I'm excited about. I think one of the areas that really gets me excited when I start thinking about Are You Real Fit is how we're able to come at it from a different angle. Being a Christian, there's always another area that we tend to hit and miss a lot. I should say not hit, but miss a lot in the fitness industry. And that is our spiritual aspect in being healthy and whole. And so with my Are You Real Fit, I'm just super excited about being able to bring that component in and make it an all-around healthy lifestyle for someone, and not just stick to, just the basics of health and fitness, which we're going to do that too, and we're going to dive deep into all of those things, and that's going to be really fun, and I'm going to have some great guests on there and bring some insight and some tools and tips for the everyday person. But I really feel like pairing that with the spiritual side is really going to be eye-opening for a lot of people who maybe have never even thought of it like that before, or just don't even understand that that's actually a part of a whole healthy lifestyle. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, I'm going to hit you on this one on a side note. So just curious, because you train both Christians and non-Christians. You're not a quote-unquote Christian trainer or whatever. Do you notice a big difference with people that you're able to work with both on the spiritual side and the physical side versus just physical?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think that, when you take someone through this process, it is a spiritual journey as well. And I have had many people come to me and say, I've lost so much amount of weight, whatever their number is, but I still look in the mirror and I see that 100-pound person overweight or whatever their number was. And I'm convinced after working with people and seeing that result in the end, the issue is not the physical side of it, because it's fairly easy. I know that it's a challenge in some ways, but once you kind of get in the routine and you change your lifestyle up enough to where you're eating healthy and you're exercising and you're putting those things, as a priority in your life, to get there and to lose that weight and to get to that point, that goal, that number, or whatever it is. But the challenging part is going through that journey and seeing yourself and loving yourself in a new way, and not in the way that you did before, but understanding how God created you to be and who you are in Him, and being able to look in the mirror and see yourself as that successful person that can move forward and grow in the journey of who you are.
Amen to that. I definitely agree with you that mindset is a huge part in not just working out, but in all areas of life. So, okay, in particular, what about the show or do you feel like is going to captivate our audience and then help them succeed and grow in the area of their life?
I think that one of the things I hear a lot from, especially from women, because I deal a lot with women, but even men as well, is, when they are trying to figure out what works for them, everything just feels overwhelming. Women walk into the gym and walk into the weight room and they just feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I here? I'm embarrassed to be in here, and even figuring out, does this diet work for me? Does this work for me? If, I change this and this, am I going to see the results I'm going to see? Because there are so many contradicting things out there. And I think that it takes someone to come in and break it down for you and make it simple and say, okay, there's a reason for doing this, and there's a reason for doing this. Here's why you would do this. Here's why you would do this. And helping people kind of find that stride for them that is going to work in their life, because not everyone is the same. And so I think that having that information and being able to really break it down to a level that people can understand, and a level that, people can say, okay, I see what they're trying to do with maybe this diet fad over here or this trend or whatever, but that's not going to work for me. I need to do this. And so I think that that's going to be a very neat thing that we're going to have to offer our listeners.
I like the fact that you brought up fads and things like that. So you and I have been in the health industry actually over 20 years now, which sounds crazy to even say. Both of us have competed, done stuff in the past. And that being said, what I think people don't realize is even with all the fads and the things that go on, there is some just very basic principles that people can grasp, that if you can just grab onto those without looking to new fads and all the different things, if they will follow, which you're going to teach, you teach your clients and you'll be talking about, but if people will just follow foundational principles, they will see huge life changes. Would you agree?
For sure. Yeah, there's definitely some basics. And even my first series of shows, we're going to cover that.
Basics?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What would you like our listeners to gain from tuning in to Are You Real? And I know some of this is repetitive, we're asking, but just different parts. Is there something specific that you can think of when they tune in that they're going to hear?
For sure. I think that just them having the ability to gain knowledge and to gain understanding in the area, physical fitness and wellness, and to be able to put those things into practice in their life and to be successful in those things will help them to live that healthy, balanced lifestyle. And so I feel like this is definitely going to be a show for everyone, really, because this is an area that even if you know a little bit, you're going to learn a whole lot more. Like I said, we're going to hit the spiritual side of so many things that you never even thought of. what is the spiritual side to sleep and what does that look like biblically and why is it important? We know a lot of the facts on that as far as, how many hours we're supposed to sleep a night and, the little tricks to maybe help us fall asleep and to get a good night's sleep. But do you understand the spiritual side of that and why it's important? So I think that that's going to be really vital, and it's going to be a really cool thing for our listeners to be able to tune in and hear.
That's funny you brought that up on the sleep part. So until had we gone through class on sleep and that stuff, I actually used to think, man, God, why could I not sleep, like only need 3 or 4 hours a night so I can get more done? And I won't get into it because I don't want to do a spoiler, but having learned what we've learned, now I actually look forward to going to bed because I know it's my time with the Lord, and I have a totally different perspective than why do I have to go to sleep? Because for me, I'd be like, man, if I could just stay up 24 hours a day, I could get so much done. And that being said, I would be missing out on so much. So
for sure.
Okay, Kasey, going into the new year, what would you say is going to be your personal biggest challenge to overcome?
Definitely balance for me. Just being a busy, mom and a wife and a business owner and all the things that we have going on. And then just being able to, keep my health a priority and to align my spirit, my soul, and my body and keep all those things healthy and in order. That's always a challenge, just to, stay on top of those things and to really balance life in general. So I think that's going to be my biggest challenge.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because I think a lot of us deal with that. Like for us, we own 2 businesses, have a podcast, we have 3 teenagers, and all that being said, I mean, sometimes we start our mornings. I know sometimes you start your mornings at 4:45, 5 o'clock. I start mine at 6, and sometimes we go to bed between 10 and 12. Mm-hmm. So if we totally get what it's like to be too busy, and yet understanding of trying to fit stuff in. So
for sure. And I mean, we're not going to be trying to help people do anything that we haven't done or haven't had to learn through experience.
Or struggle with.
Yeah, or that we don't have to, try to work out in our own lives as well. And so I think that's really going to be key. I'm not going to be sitting here talking about things that I know nothing about. This is an everyday challenge for us as a family. And if I do talk about something that I don't know anything about, I will have someone on that does know what they're talking about. Yeah. So, I'm going to be learning in the process as well. So it's going to be fun.
Okay. Going into January, just curious, do you have a New Year's resolution or resolutions?
I like to call it New Year's goals.
Okay.
Because I'm a goal person. And, I don't necessarily say like, I'm going to have a New Year's resolution, but I do think that the new year is a great place to look back at the year behind you and to kind of reevaluate all that's gone on and to kind of look ahead at the year in front of you and say, okay, I'm here. Where do I want to be at the end of this year? And to set some goals to help you to achieve that and to be where you want to be, because without kind of aligning yourself and having a vision, the word says that my people perish for lack of vision. And so if we don't prepare, if we don't align with what God is doing in our lives and with what we want to accomplish, then a lot of times we're just kind of going through the motions, and we are kind of like a ship without a rudder, we just kind of, live day to day with no goals. And so I really feel like the New Year's a really good time to kind of get back on track and to make sure that we're headed in the right direction.
I'm with you on that one. I like New Year's because I feel like it's a reset to kind of refocus on where I'm going, what I'm doing. Especially for me, the last 2 months of the year are just like hodgepodge. I feel like it's just a mess of everything going on because we take these breaks and then we got Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that. So I actually really enjoy the New Year because I think it's my reset. So,
yeah.
Okay, last but not least, I'm really curious of something that you would like to share with our audience I know everything about you.
Everything.
I know everything. I know all your dirty little secrets.
Wow.
But maybe not. So I'm just curious, though, what is a fact or a hobby or just something about you that you would share with our audience?
I think that something kind of interesting. Well, everyone knows I'm a worship leader, and I do sing and I lead worship. But before that, I actually competed in pageants. And I did the Miss New Mexico pageant, and actually you and I were dating at that time.
I remember.
Yes, and so I did compete in the Miss New Mexico pageant, and I did win the talent portion, which of course I sang and won scholarship money and all that. And that was a really cool experience. And after that pageant is when we got married, basically.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw in a quick fact, which I think is really cool for as busy as that we are. I don't know if our audience knows this, but you actually still compete. And you did a show in Texas, which is one of the biggest shows. It was the Europa. It's one of the biggest shows in the state of Texas. And I think you took 5th. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's actually the biggest show in the state of Texas.
Yeah, it was humongous. There was a lot. I don't think I've ever been. I've been to a lot of bodybuilding shows. There was a lot of people there. There was too many people there.
There was a lot. And it was amateur and pro. And of course, I was on the amateur side. And yeah, I placed 5th in my category and learned a lot from that experience. And that was in July. And now we are busy building our house and doing a whole lot of other stuff. So I'm not really focused on that right now, but it was definitely a good experience, good learning experience.
Awesome. Well, I am really excited about January and what we're going to be doing. Is there any last thing that you can think of you want to share with the audience before we call it a day night?
I just want to say that I am just pumped up about these first episodes. You're definitely going to want to check out Are You Real Fit? We're going to cover the basics. And the first series will be the basics on health and wellness. And we're going to definitely touch on some of the basics from a different angle. Like I said, we're going to throw that spiritual in there. And so I think it's going to be just a really cool way to kind of kick off the new year and get you focused on that area and learn maybe some new things, and also just kind of, like I said, get you refocused and allow you to set some goals in some areas of your life that you may or may not have thought of, and just to get that overall healthy, balanced lifestyle kind of just put back into perspective and in order for the new year and get going on the right foot.
Awesome. All right. So Roar Nation, check it out. Don't forget to get on Are You Real, our Facebook page. Please follow us. The reason I would love for you guys to get on there is what that does is it allows you guys to just comment, ask questions, whatever, if you want to post stuff, and we can answer them as a team if you have anything specifically about fitness, business, success, or whatever. Also, you can follow us on, I think we're on Instagram now, right?
Are You Real Pod.
Are You Real Pod, and also with Twitter. And hey, I want to give a shout out. If you will post something on iTunes, or send me an email, preferably iTunes. And a lot of you have been leaving reviews, so I greatly appreciate it. But you've just been leaving stars. If you will actually leave a comment, what I will do is make sure you get a shout out on the next show after I read it to say thank you. And whatever you put, I'm going to read it out just as a thank you. And I'd love to hear where you're from. I just recently got one from Norway. And I will be backlogging, looking at where that was from, so I can give a shout out to them too. So all of you all over the world, please leave a review. I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. So love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, be real, be authentic, and be you. God bless.
That's all for this episode of Are You Real? Finding the Authentic You. Be sure to go to areyoureal.org for your free questionnaire to identify your gifts and talents and how you can use them to help people become leaders and catapult them into their destiny to help others become the leaders of tomorrow. We appreciate you spending your time with us and look forward to helping you reach out and revolutionize next time on Are You Real? Finding the Authentic You.